go ahead and look at some places where we would use the unit circle. We're going to be evaluating trigonometric functions. You should have your unit circle all completed with the angles in degrees, radians, all the ordered pairs. You should also have a good understanding of when the 6 trig functions are positive or negative. All right, definition of trig functions. Let t be a real number. So t is going to be a real number or an angle. That angle can be either in degrees or radians. We'll probably use mostly radians. And xy will be the point of on the circle that corresponds to that angle. So just to give you an idea of what this is meaning here, you've got your x and y axis, you've got an angle here, and that angle can be represented on the unit circle, and this is then angle t. And the point here on the circle would be xy. So what we're going to do is just do some evaluating. All right, you know that sine of an angle is always y, cosine of the angle is always x. This is the uniqueness of the unit circle. And tangent is y over x. Now you've got cosecant, secant, cotangent. Those are the reciprocals of, or the inverses of, 1 over y, 1 over x, and x over y. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do some evaluating. The first one that we're going to look at is pi over 6. So what we know about the ordered pair pi over 6, at pi over 6 here, this is your angle pi over 6. It's a 30-degree angle. And the ordered pair that corresponds to that is the root 3 over 2, 1/2. That's the ordered pair that goes with it. So if I want to evaluate all of the ratios, sine of angle t would equal, it's the y value, so 1/2. Cosine of t is the x value, so root 3 over 2. And tangent would equal, if you divide those 1/2 by the root 3 over 2, you end up getting the square root of 3 over 3. So you're going to have to do some math on that. If you divide 1/2 by the root 3 over 2, you'd have to reduce, simplify, and rationalize. Cosecant of t would then equal the reciprocal of 1/2, so 2. Secant of t would equal the reciprocal here. You'd have to rationalize. You would end up getting 2 square roots of 3 over 3. Now let me just show you here on this specific one what that actually looks like. So you've got the square root of 3 over 2 is the cosine, so which means the 2 over the root 3 is secant, and then you have to rationalize like this. Multiply top and bottom by the root 3, and you end up getting 2 roots of 3 over 3. And so that's how the rationalizing takes place. Now cotangent here, if you do the reciprocal of the root 3 over 3, you end up getting just the root 3 after rationalizing and simplifying what you have there. All right, number 2 here, we've got negative 5/4 pi. So just to get an idea of where that's located, it's going to be right here in the second quadrant. We're going clockwise around from 0. The ordered pair that is attached to that would be negative root 2 over 2, positive root 2 over 2. So from here we can write our sine of t is the x value, or the y value, root 2 over 2. Cosine of t would be negative root 2 over 2. We're in quadrant 2, so x is negative. And tangent, if you divide one by the other, you get negative 1. Cosecant of t, if you do the reciprocal, it'd be 2 over the root 2. You'd have to rationalize that, which gives you 2 square roots of 2 over 2. Simplifies down to just the root 2. So we're looking at the root 2 here for cosecant. Secant would also be the root 2, but since x is negative, it's negative root 2. And cotangent would also still be negative 1. All right, so we're identifying the 6 trig ratios. We still got looking at number 3 here. When t is pi, let's see where pi is located. So pi is the angle here at 180 degrees. and that ordered pair is -1, 0. So the sine of the angle would be the y value, which would equal 0. Cosine of the angle is the x value, -1, and tangent of the angle would be 0 divided by -1, which is 0. Cosecant of the angle, cosecant would be 1 divided by 0, which is undefined. Secant of the angle, 1 divided by -1, which is also -1, and cotangent. And cotangent would be my x divided by y, which is undefined. All right, that would be how you can do any of those angles that lie either on the x-axis or y-axis. You would be using the ordered pairs either 1, 0, 0, 1, here -1, 0, and so on. All right, now looking at evaluating the trig functions just for specific amounts, what we can do is just identify the location that we're looking for and decide, are we talking about the y value, the x value, a ratio of them? So we're looking for sine of 3/4 pi. Sine of 3/4, here's where 3/4 is located. It's right here from 0 going clockwise, counterclockwise. The ordered pair at 3/4 is -√2/2, +√2/2. And so we know that the sine would be √2/2. That's how quickly you can evaluate that. You don't even need to draw out what you're trying to find. But I will draw and label just so that you get used to the location. So -pi/3 would be a 60-degree reference angle here in quadrant 4. And we're looking for cosine. So cosine would be the x value, and the x value is 1/2. Tangent of 7/6 pi. 7/6 pi is located in quadrant 3 here. It's a 30-degree reference angle from the x-axis, and we'll go counterclockwise there to get there. And so tangent in that case is positive in that quadrant, but √3/3. All right, we are looking for secant of 3/4 pi. So 3/4 pi, 13/4 pi. We know that going all the way around the circle would be 8/4. And then this is 12/4. So 13/4 would be in my third quadrant. And the ordered pair there in that third quadrant, they're both negative. -√2/2, -√2/2. And if I do secant, secant would be 1 over the x. So 1 over a -√2/2 ends up being -√2. That would be the final answer. You might want to show some more work with that, multiply by the reciprocal and then rationalize. You might need to do that in order to get to your -√2. Cotangent of -3/2 pi. Here's -3/2 pi going clockwise all the way around to the top. The ordered pair is 0, 1. So cotangent would be x divided by y. My x divided by my y is 0. Cosecant 10/3 pi. Well, let's find out where 10/3 pi will be located. 10/3 pi, if I go all the way around, that's 6/3. And then all the way to the 180 mark is 9/3 pi. So 10/3 pi would be in quadrant 3. It's a 60-degree reference angle. And we're looking for cosecant. Well, cosecant would be 1 over the y value. My ordered pair is -1/2, -√3/2. So 1 over the y value, 1 over -√3/2, ends up being -2 square roots of 3 over 3. Final answer. All right, that concludes how to evaluate using the unit circle at some specific angles.